Welcome back to SwitchStars, my name's Luke, and I'm back once again with a New Year's treat for you in the form of a review, this time for Monster Impossible Truck No Limit Adventure Drive Simulator Sports 3D, another VG game special which I mentioned as being my worst ranked game of 2022, so here it is in all its glory. As always though, before we start, drop a like if you enjoy this one, subscribe for more Switch reviews and content, and let's get this shit show on the road. So hitting the main menu then, we instantly get blasted in the face by some rocking heavy metal tune. The only option we're given is to play, so no options menu in this one whatsoever, but next we get to select from an awesome collection of monster trucks including the Bandit, the Bison, the Comet and several others, but everything but the Bandit are locked behind paywalls. Finally we get to pick our difficulty, and being the big swinging dick that I am, I decided to head right in the deep end and opted for hard difficulty. But unfortunately, all of the levels are also locked, so we're forced to start from the first level of easy mode and then work our way through them one by one. Dropping into the level though, that heavy metal rift goes ahead and starts itself over, and this bastard actually replays itself every single time you begin a level and every single time you complete a level and are then kicked back to the main menu, so you better either get used to it or alternatively mute your TV, as it will get on your tits after about 5 minutes. The game consists of 4 different difficulties, each containing 20 levels, and while the first level shows at least a little bit of promise, containing some jumps and speed bumps, a bunch of different obstacles to navigate around and some stairs which your monster truck can actually drive up, after this any ounce of creativity goes out the window for the foreseeable future and instead is replaced by an endless supply of flowing racetracks. Each of them though looks like they've been pieced together by a 5-year-old in GTA 5, and amongst them you'll have mesh looking tracks which completely fuck with your eyes, and wooden tracks which are just an eyesore, and the developer has made very little effort to ensure each segment actually lines up correctly, so you'll often encounter gaps and overlapping sections, and your monster truck will bounce about like a bastard most of the time. The real issue with these tracks though is the length of them. Admittedly there are a couple which feel more or less the right length and have a few jumps or pitfalls to navigate around, but the vast majority of them are just long, winding, drawn out sky roads with nothing setting them apart from one another, and the only notable features are these giant footballs which also appear to be randomly placed and offer nothing but a minor obstruction for you to smash into. To make matters worse, many of the tracks are actually repeated, and while they all do blend into one another, there were numerous occasions when I thought to myself, hold on a minute, I've already done this one, haven't I? But thankfully my sanity was confirmed to be intact when I hit track 19 in medium mode, and I found it to be identical to track 2 in easy mode. Now, completing the tracks rewards you with 500 gold, which can then be used to unlock additional monster trucks, but the only thing really setting these apart is the maximum speed and acceleration. All of them handle like absolute shit though, not only having the inability to turn corners, but when you hit the brakes to actually try and slow down for them, you just end up skidding all over the fucking place like you've stepped on a piece of frozen dog shit. The physics in the game are also completely screwed. Hit a jump too fast and your monster truck will go apeshit, usually landing the wrong way up before instantly flipping itself back onto its wheels, and on several occasions I bumped into corners only to clip through them and get my wheels wedged in them, which would then force me to have to restart the level all over again. Unfortunately, you have no option but to unlock the higher level monster trucks, as about halfway through medium mode you'll get to this level which is impossible to complete, so you'll then have to go back to grind previous levels if you spent all of your cash, and I advise just saving up and buying the final monster truck right away. Not that it's actually rewarding in any way though. Once you hit the hard tracks, you're treated to more of the flat ones with those speed bumps and shit to navigate round, but I got about 3 stages into these, took one look at the length of this one and thought, fuck that, I've had enough. And I think that the difficulties don't so much denote how challenging the tracks are, and are actually more of an indication as to how much willpower you'll need to expend to sit through them. Oh, and I also got myself stuck on some stairs again. So in total, I think I worked my way through about 44 tracks or so, and I had to actually do this in multiple sittings as the game is so soul-destroyingly boring and I could barely muster the effort to go back to it after my first play session. And of all the games that these complete and utter bellends have released, I'd say that this one has been by far the most difficult to stomach for a review. There's literally just no redeeming features with it. The tracks are amongst the dullest I've ever experienced in a racing game, the vehicles feel horrendous to drive and can barely turn corners or make it up hills, and that music, fuck me, that music just repeats and repeats, and I'd frequently forget to mute my game and find myself subconsciously getting more and more furious at it until I eventually realised. Now, there's really nothing more else to say about the game really, but if you take a look at its eShop, the screenshots for it are fake as ever, not only when it comes to the quality of the visuals in them, but also for the fact that several of them show multiple vehicles in them despite it being a single player game. As expected, the monster trucks themselves are generic stock models from the Unity Asset Store, which you'll find in almost every single low budget monster truck game on the market, and I presume the tracks are created using some kind of track builder tool, but I had a little search about, couldn't find it, and then really couldn't be asked to find it. When all's said and done though, the game is just absolute shite. It's shittier than any of the previous shit, and Nintendo should be embarrassed of their eShop and of their inability, or more likely lack of interest in ensuring scamming fuckers like these are blacklisted, and that customers can actually look at buying a game and don't have to question its legitimacy. Sure, the absurd names of them should definitely be a red flag right away for most people, and you may see a game with a title like this and wonder what wanker would even consider buying this shit. And that wanker would be me, my friends. Since my channel's conception, I've seen it my duty to weed out the worst the Switch has to offer, shovelware, asset flips and all. So if you enjoyed this one, be sure to drop a like, subscribe for more like it, as well as regular reviews of actual Switch games. But until next time, as always, thanks once again for watching, take care of yourselves, and game on.